everyone, I'm Mina, and you are watching the spoiler episode of Zero Time Dilemma. And in this episode, I will be talking about my full thoughts. You will also get to see the final moments of me playing the game and my thoughts at that moment. And this is just going to be super spoilery, so if you haven't watched my entire Let's Play, or if you haven't played Zero Time Dilemma, or haven't seen someone's Let's Play of Zero Time Dilemma, now is the time to leave. You have a couple of seconds to run, go, get out of here. That being said, anything said from this point on is a spoiler, and if you have not seen anything about Zero Time Dilemma, you have already been warned.
You are free to decide. Which shall it be? Pull the trigger, or let me go. The fates of you, me, and mankind are all on the line. This is the decision game.
Can't skip these credits. I guess I don't know if this is the actual ending, but let's start running down some things from the top. I noticed earlier on, I think I mentioned at some point, that he had a butterfly brooch on him, which is kind of like the whole butterfly effect thing, which was what he was talking about basically with the snail and the path. I called some things, and other things I totally didn't see coming. Mira being the serial killer, I called that pretty quickly. Really quickly. I'm astonished I picked it up so quickly. I am impressed that I also caught her eyes open in one of the scenes, and I suspected that she wasn't being injected. Didn't realize I was right. For some reason I didn't realize that. I also identified that she was the one who went around and killed people on that timeline. Now, the timeline where she killed Junpei, I didn't see that coming. Honestly, I was thinking that was Zero's handiwork there. I kind of assumed that Zero had killed both Junpei and Mira in that timeline. I was right about him killing Mira, wasn't right about him killing Junpei. I figured that there was an accomplice in the game, but I was wrong when I said that Zero wasn't a part of the game. I guess. I guess the thing is I was correct in that the characters that I could observe were not Zero. I was right on that. So, the character that we had assumed was Q, which was actually Sean, was, you know, not Zero, and none of the other characters were Zero, but Q, in fact, was Zero. Got tricked. Yeah, the Phi twin thing was really weird. And as soon as it got to the part of the story where it was like showing Sigma and Diana hooking up and getting to have a child, I was immediately like, I see where this is going. Because the memento thing from her mother, it made sense. What else did I identify? I think the mind hacking thing was what happened when they did choices that they didn't necessarily want to go along with, like when Diana hit the button, or when they said something like the devil made me do it or something like that. They were being mind hacked. I think that's what was going on there. I didn't fully grasp that until when Eric was like trying to say that he didn't mean to shoot and blah blah blah, and then he pointed the gun at himself, I realized right there, I was like, he can control them, and this is why there were timelines where characters did things that they didn't want to do at all. This was a really good game. I think the biggest thing that shocked me was the identity of Q. And by that I mean Delta, like the reveal that he had been there the whole time, the old man in the chair. Which I remember Eric saying that. I have a feeling that there's going to be something coming up at the end of this. It's thanks to the support of our fans that this project was completed. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Zero Escape staff. Aww. CQDN2. The I. Coincide. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one. I don't think I need to grab these. These are just the dead ends where you don't remember your the passwords. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do this one. And there's a countdown timer. What if you don't do anything with the countdown timer? Is it the same as don't shift? I would think so. Same thing as hitting that blue button. Don't press the do not press button. So let's get started. I would like to start with my overall feelings of the game. I think the thing is I understand that the game had to come to a close, an ending, and one of the things that I would like to say is that I feel that this game is probably the weakest in terms of the Zero Escape series. That doesn't mean I don't like it, because I do like it. I feel that they had to put closure and leave less mind... I don't know what to even word it, but just they had to remove a lot of things that left confusion or questions that they did in the first two games, and it was a choice to make these questions answered. And even then, even when he answered the questions that I had about, you know, some things that happened in the other games, he did leave a lot of questions behind, where I know that the internet is swarming with I want the answers about Alice and Clover. I want to know, what does Clem have to do with anything? I want to know, and there's so many questions left unanswered. And I know a lot of people want to know about, you know, Ace and the Cradle Pharmaceuticals and other aspects of that. And I agree that these are things that we would have liked to have answers to. And I mean, anybody could sit here and theorize about, like, well, this is probably what happened, but we didn't actually get a full answer from the game. And I guess in some ways that's a little disappointing, but I still don't think it's a bad game at all. I absolutely enjoyed this game. To getting the things that I really let's start with some positives. The things that I really liked about this game. I loved the reveal of Q Delta. I actually, what's going to be happening as you're watching this, the spoiler episode is you're going to be seeing, moments where Q or Delta was revealed. There might be some pauses in my conversation here to show you moments where we should have heard Delta.
Pleasant dreams.
They exist that
Pleasant dreams.
they exist that I did enjoy, the reveal. I'm on the side with, they gave us adequate evidence that there was another person there. I'm not on the side of, well, why didn't they talk about him? Why didn't they put him out? I understand why they didn't. They framed it so that way he wouldn't be seen. Like, it's obvious that was the goal of, like, you could argue in Virtue's Last Reward, why didn't Sigma ever see his old man reflection in the dirty mirror? There were reasons for that, and it's storytelling reasons, right? It's more obvious when you realize and go back and look at it from the point of view of, right, nobody knew who Sean was. So when they talked about Q, why is it then when they actually saw Sean were they confused, like, who's this kid? I don't remember it, but they had been talking about Q. And they never made the assumption, like, this is Q. They already knew who Q was. They already knew who he was. I spent a lot of time when I was doing my recordings trying to figure stuff out before they actually happen. Some of you recognize that I caught on some of the things. Some of the things I'm really impressed that I picked up on, because I knew going into this that I wasn't going to grab everything. I think a lot of us are probably super genre savvy when it comes to games. For example, whenever I play a game, I find myself constantly thinking to myself, oh, I know what's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen. I know this character, and, like, I've seen this before is something that comes to mind every time I'm playing a game. And there are times where a game might just, like, give me a small surprise or something like that, but nothing has ever taken, like, the entirety of how I think and turned it on its head quite like Zero Time Dilemma has done for me, or Zero Escape series has done for me. It's such a good feeling to be wrong about things, and that's the whole reason why I wanted to record this entire playthrough. Was when I played 999, I remember being so wrong about everything. I really liked being wrong. It was really refreshing to just be wrong, but it's not just about being wrong, right? We want to be wrong, but we want there to have been substantial evidence that we could have looked at and said, here's the evidence that gave you all the answers, and you just didn't look at it. And that's what I like about being wrong. Now, maybe they didn't emphasize it in the story, which is, how they trick you, but in a way, it was just kind of like they left it. They left the little crumbs of the truth, and we just walked over the crumbs, not looking at it. And that's why we like it, right? At least that's the reason why I like it. So I really feel that this game did a good job with the whole Delta thing. Now, there are aspects of it that I struggle to be okay with. I guess I find it too much of like a, how am I going to put this into words? So I'm not a big fan of soap operas. I don't like them. I don't like the whole, this person is actually your mom, or this person is actually your twin, or the evil twin did this, or something like that. It always feels so contrived. I don't like it. So there were aspects of the whole Delta timeline stuff that just kind of was like, and I'm sure if you watch my Let's Play, you'll see like maybe some expressions that I made where I was just kind of like not having it. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's not okay, and I understand time travel. You start doing time travel and you start getting really, really confusing stuff going on. Any game that tries to capture time travel is immediately going to have some wonky business going on. And the transport pods, I didn't like anything that had to do with the transport pods. I really didn't. But it feels like it could have been so close to what could exist in the world that introducing this alien technology just felt off. Also feel really weird about it only being a year after events of 999. It feels like it should have been way longer of a time span, especially with how the characters look. And to talk about how the characters look, I'm not too sold on Zero Time Dilemma's way of art style for the characters. I don't want to say that I hate it. I don't want to say that I dislike it, but I will say that it seems weaker than Virtue's Last Reward and also weaker than 999. Something else that I wanted to talk about is basically the elements of the game that I did catch and some of them that I didn't catch. And what you're watching right now is a little bit of both, I think. Maybe not. I'll have to go back and check. But for example, I caught on to Mira really quickly, and I don't know if it was the intention to catch on to her quickly or if they wanted to make sure they left enough evidence behind to prove that Mira could be this type of person. But from the onset, I found her behavior to be strange. Bringing up the serial murderer, the Heart Ripper, and having the expressions she had when talking about this person seemed rather strange. And it immediately made me think, I don't know, is she the Heart Ripper? It was the first thing that came to my mind. Is like, why would you bring up the serial killer like that so nonchalantly and just kind of smile and be okay with it? And it felt weird. And it only progressively got more and more weird as I went to Q Team's side of things. I think I knew from the moment I saw her that that was the case. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up was, along with that scene, I believe it was I believe it was in their room as well. They're the ones that had the pillar with the H on the pillar. And I remember pointing out, and I'm sure I'll do it in right here if possible.
What is
Let's
this?
inhibit the virus.
Let's inhibit the virus. Maybe someone's gonna remove or control some kind of virus.
Virus? What virus?
So I noticed that on the
About the vote? What?
okay, so I believe I was trying to say oh, the pillar, there's an H on there, and I wanted to say that's a really weird. Let's pretend that we were to draw on a board or something like that, and there's a pillar in the middle. You would space over and just not bother writing on the pillar. So what I had wanted to express was, I feel like that H is significant, and I was going to say that it kind of looks like an upside down 4. And I wish I had, but I didn't, because this was very early on in my Let's Play when I didn't press the pause to talk. But I did get enough out where you could see in the video, I was like, oh, that pillar thing. I was trying to talk, and then I was like, oh, the characters are talking. I'll be quiet. I'm sorry, characters. You go ahead. and I wanted to point that out. I can't believe that I pointed that out. Had I thought more about it, I would have been like, why is 4 significant? And maybe I would have thought more about it later on. I would say the other thing that I did really well, besides the Mira discovery, was I took a really really, 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 really close look at the edits that I was doing with getting the X passes. And I know this was something that like someone pointed out, that it was like the X passes were actually really, really significant, and me paying that close attention to them was going to, like, you know, tell me some things. And I was really, really focused on the X passes. Eric, from the beginning, I thought was like, is he related to Dio? Is he brother? And I remember saying something along the lines of like me thinking that. But obviously as the game continued on, I was like, no, he can't be. No, not at all. He's unrelated to the whole brother thing. And I know I took it back in like 2 or 3 episodes that I was just like, yeah, he's not Dio. Yeah, no, he has nothing to do with Dio. It was like, I just, you know, his mannerisms, the way he talked, came off very Dio-like. I believe I called out, oh, he could pick up that red box and shake it. I'm like, that's really strange because Sigma couldn't. That's really weird. I did not realize that he was a robot until basically right at the very end of where you could probably figure out that he's a robot. And that's basically when he got up and Mira had escaped. I knew which timeline this was. This was the timeline that she stabbed everyone. She stabbed everyone. And I knew that she also stabbed Q, because you go over to the timeline where we played and got the Radical 6. This was the timeline that connected to that. And I don't know, but I think I might have like pointed out, like, why did Q get stabbed? Why did Q get stabbed? Sean get stabbed? Because I knew that, like, when I played Diana's side, that he was still alive, and he didn't get stabbed. And I was really confused about that up until, you know, the reveal, but I knew that there were things that were off about him. I just didn't know what it all meant. I think at some point I was trying to figure out the accomplice. I had mentioned that I felt that there was an accomplice in the game. I definitely mentioned it more off stream, off camera, off recordings with a couple of my friends, that I believe that there was an accomplice. I don't think Fi was correct in her assessment that, I thought that Fi wasn't correct about her assessment that Zero had to be playing the game, because I pointed out, if Zero was playing the game, Zero is making way too many observations and talking way too much to different characters in the game that doesn't add up. Like, why is he reacting to stuff? It doesn't make sense. So, going back to like, you know, basically when they were talking about pre-recordings, I was like, there are things that are pre-recorded. I see that. But there are also definitely things that aren't pre-recorded. And I thought to myself, like, Zero has to be somebody who's not actively participating in the game. And I was right. Kind of. I was right in that the characters that we were looking at were not Zero. I was right about that. I was wrong. I was also right that there was an accomplice. I was right that Sean was an accomplice. In a way, Sean's were accomplices. Robots, Sean's were accomplices. Because I knew that there was way too much going on, that if Zero, like, I felt like somebody had to be participating in the game and helping Zero out. Because there's way too much working in this game to have it work the way he wanted.
What do you think, old man? C-Team's gotta be alive, right?
What are you doing, Eric? He's not gonna answer you.
Hey, you don't know. Maybe he
Can speak?
And I guess it was also right because Delta was in the game in a way. So, but I assumed there was accomplices, and I was right. When he called Mira his unknowing accomplice, I kind of called that. I think, yes, there was an episode, and I'll put it right here. Also, does she fall asleep with her eyes open? I'm gonna watch her eyes this time. Yeah, eyes are open again. So I think I pointed out that like Mira's eyes were open when she, I think it was the containment bay area, that her eyes were wide open. And I was like, that's really strange. And I pointed it out because I was like, is that like an animation problem? Did they forget to like animate her eyes being shut? That's kind of weird. When it comes to D team, of course we got, let's start with Diana. Diana is from the beginning. Let me start by saying Luna and Diana are not the same people at all. And I know that Luna was based off of Diana, but Luna was based off of the Diana that Sigma envisioned. When you looked at Luna in Virtue's Last Reward, you saw the embodiment of basically someone's perfected ideal of what someone else was like. When I looked at Luna, and after, it's made clear that she's not human, I understood that Sigma must have truly, truly, truly loved Luna and who Luna was based after. I totally get Diana and why she is the way she is. Even during the scenes when she was breaking down and just like falling apart, I completely understood what was going on with her. I mean, if you were trapped in the situation, there's several things that happens to people when they become trapped and their behaviors in a trapped environment. And I mean, she went through everything. She went through denial. She went through just like anger at the situation. She went through sadness. She expressed everything. And Sigma, in all his infinite years and age or whatever, was holding on to it really well because he lived in confinement and solitude and loneliness and all those things, and he was okay with just being there. We had already met Sigma and Phi in Virtue's Last Reward. I guess I found some frustrating parts about Zero Time Dilemma in that they weren't picking up on things as obvious that were to me, that I'm like, okay, come on, look. Why are you confused about logical things that make sense to someone like me? I'm just a normal person who's playing this game. You're Sigma. You're smart. You made so many things, and I don't understand how you, of all people, don't get what's going on. Because you're also old Sigma. You're not young Sigma. You're old Sigma. You, of all people, should know. I thought that, Phi had explained how her mother had passed away during birth. She didn't mention to, her twin brother, obviously, because she didn't know about it. But she had mentioned, her mother had passed away during birth, and her father had gone away somewhere, and she didn't know, and she got raised by two, researchers or something. Actually a redhead or whatever, and, that sort of thing. I thought to myself, maybe her and Diana were related, were twins or something. I thought. I never said this on stream or recording. I wish I had, but it was something that I thought about that was maybe they're siblings, because then that would explain away. Her mother passed away during, childbirth. She was actually a twin. They were raised separately. I won't say that they look to be the same age, but you could reasonably say maybe they're roughly the same age. Cells and Mira had mentioned, like, maybe he was someone's one night mistake, maybe Diana's, and Diana was like, knock it off or whatever. Because I know I called that out in an episode. I really like Carlos. Carlos is a really, really interesting character. I understand that Junpei has gone through a lot in the year away from 999. I feel a little betrayed on the fact that Junpei is so different from 999. He does seem more like Tenmyoji in the future. I remember Akane being a lot more goofier in 999. Maybe I'm just reminiscing incorrectly. Maybe I'm just like not remembering that game as clearly as I remembered. But oh my god, the AB game. The AB game with Junpei immediately brought back memories of Alice. So when I first played Virtue's Last Reward, the first path I chose was Alice, and I was infuriated with Alice because I was like, how could you betray me when I allied? What would make you do this to me? How, like, and that feeling came right back with Junpei, because I was sitting there, and I know I was saying this during the stream where I was just like, don't you do it. Don't you press betray. If you press betray, I swear. And I was just like so angry thinking about it, because I had this feeling. I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And he did. I'm so angry at him. It's like, Junpei, Junpei, why? I mean, I loved Carlos a lot. Sheer selflessness. That oxygen mask scene, I know I started crying so early on, but it was because I knew enough about his character that the second there was only one oxygen mask on screen, I thought to myself, only one of them can use that, right? Because that's what's going to be the most dramatic. I didn't even think about the 20 minutes that they had to stay in that room or whatever. I don't know how much, would actually kill a person. There's no way he would use the mask. And I quickly thought that. There's no way he would use the mask. The fact that Akane passed out and doesn't have the choice to, basically say, I don't want the mask, I'm not taking the mask. The fact that she had already succumbed, and the fact that Junpei was there, there's no way Junpei would use it on himself. So the only thing that was going to happen was it was going to be used on Akane. And I know it's just as heart-wrenching to think about Junpei giving up the oxygen mask to Akane, but let's not pretend that he doesn't love her, okay? Let's not pretend like that's not a thing. Junpei loves Akane. We know this. That's fact. Carlos doesn't, I'm not saying that he doesn't care about them, but he doesn't love or whatever either of them. In fact, he could feel just like he barely knows them. They're almost strangers. He's got a sick sister he has to survive this game for to get money to help. So when I saw Carlos sacrifice the mask, it was a true test of his character, that he genuinely wants people to survive, and he wants everyone to live, even at the cost of his own life. And that was really sad. That's really sad. Selfless acts like that make me tear up. Fi in the incinerator. She knows that that's a 100% chance that she will die if the trigger's not pulled. It's a 100% chance. And she still is insisting upon it. Yes, it's really sad that Sigma's pull the trigger, save Fi. But he's logical. It's a 50-50 chance on his side. On her side, it's a 100% chance that she's going to die. So I cried more for Fi, I'm sure. And I think I didn't cry when I shot Sigma and killed him. But what made me cry was Diana following after him, because that... It's never good to be suicidal or do something like that. But it's really depressing and really hurts me when she felt that because she pulled the trigger and caused Sigma's death, that she no longer had the right to her own life as well. And that's really sad. This is actually going back to a theory I had. I can't think of anything else, really. I've spent almost an hour talking about all these things in this game. So if I were to and this is something I want to do for basically every game that I play, is do one of these spoiler review culmination of thoughts, and basically you get to watch the best of hits while I'm doing that. In this case, it's not going to be the best of hints, but it's more like, look at all the times that Delta was shown, or that I was right, or that I was really wrong, or something like that. I think I want to do this with every Let's Play that I do, is just have this nice, huge spoiler thing. What I really want to ask, though, is for you guys in the comment section, what did you know before the game was really giving you any hints? Like, what did you catch on really quick? Also, tell me, what was probably your favorite moment in the Zero Escape series as a whole, and also Zero Time Dilemma? I would like to know these things. I'm going to be doing both 999 and Virtue's Last Reward in the future. And when I upload those, I'm going to ask that the spoilers stay contained. If you're in 999, only 999 spoilers when they're revealed. Because in case somebody out there hasn't watched anybody else's amazing Let's Plays of these games, I would like them to just enter with basically no knowledge. And then Virtue's Last Reward, go free on the 999 spoilers, but pull back the Virtue's Last Reward ones, and also Zero Time Dilemma. So in this comment section, feel free with reckless abandon to talk about any spoilers whatsoever. I would really like to know what were the things you liked, or what were the things you hated. What were the things that, just didn't make sense to you? And maybe we can work things out together. Maybe I'll think of things later on about that I didn't understand about this game. And I guess on top of all of that, did you like my Let's Play? I mean, I've tried my best, and this is probably the first series that I've done from front to back. It's a completed Let's Play. I had the most fun interacting with you guys in the comment section. I really loved how you guys supported me. If you can possibly, subscribe, let people know about this Let's Play wherever you can. Anything you can do to support this, because I really want to keep doing more things like this with you guys. Also, if there's a game that you want me to play, feel free to leave suggestions down below saying hey, I really want you to play this game. I've heard, I am going back to Undertale. I need to go play that. And I've heard someone tell me that they want me to play, okay, I'll remember it. Hold on. Somebody asked me if I would play Ghost Trick, and I've never heard of that game before, and I'm really interested after taking a look at the fact that it was made by some people who were involved in Phoenix Wright, maybe? Is that what I read? I can't remember. I remember that it was something that was oh, I didn't know. Oh, that sounds really interesting. I'm actually really interested in that. And I was told that it's another point and click visual novel sort of game. So that would be fun to do. I mean, it'd be a blind Let's Play, because I feel really bad that, my 999 Virtue's Last Reward, Danganronpa and Danganronpa 2 aren't going to be blind. I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to do my best to voice act and be interesting and commentate to the best of my abilities, but it's not going to be blind, and I feel like that kind of cheapens a little bit of the experience. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm still going to do it. I haven't played a lot of games. I have so many games that I own and that I haven't beaten, haven't played, that I'm blind to, that I would like to record and upload. And I spend a lot of time editing these videos. I wish I could show you the amount of effort I put in. But to suffice it to say that I spend 10-12 hours editing videos. Recordings take like 6 hours of my day. And I'm constantly poured over on this stuff, and I'm just, working away at it, and I am not complaining at all. I love it. This is so much fun to do all this, because as I'm editing, I think to myself, like, someone's gonna love this part right here. This part that I just edited, someone's gonna love that. And I feel really good about it. I'm like, I'm glad. And then, like, taking out all the parts, I'm just like, oh, I'm just like not doing anything. I'm just staring at the screen thinking, because I do a lot of that. When I'm playing like a game like this where there's so many logic puzzles, I actually stop and I'm just kind of like, what does this mean? And there's a lot of that. I mean, there's probably like 5-10 minutes. I'm not saying that I'm dumb or bright or smart or whatever, but I do take a while to like process things and think, and I don't want to like include all of that. I think I've included a little bit of it, like times where it was just kind of like I just sat and thought, and maybe like 5-10 seconds go by, and then all of a sudden, like, you can see the light bulb go on as my brain's just like, oh, and then I start solving it. I was like, oh, I figured it out. Sometimes when I'm really quick at that, then I include that in my Let's Play. But if it's just me spending minutes just like circling around there, I'm going, what is the answer to this? I completely cut those out. Make sure you guys leave a comment below. I really want to read what you guys thought about the Zero Time Dilemma series. Also, whatever games that you're interested in me playing in the future. Leave behind, what you liked and disliked about the games themselves, the series itself even. And I really want to know what surprised you the most about Zero Time Dilemma. What shocked you? I imagine the Delta thing is one, but what's another one? And if you saw the Delta thing coming, wow, I totally didn't, and you are way better at this than me, and I thought I was trying to be really meticulous in figuring things out. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.